All right, greetings. Welcome back to Thanks for hanging out with me today on the webs. We're live on YouTube, Rockfin, and on Callin. And I know we already talked about this story before, but the story has got some more wrinkles as time has gone on. And and again, this is not a it's not a frivolous discussion. This is not a I remember a long time ago, more so in the past, when this channel was more so devoted to climate change, people would just be really upset if I was talking about other things other than, I'm here to listen about climate change, and how dare you talk about other news stories. Okay. Well, this is kind of consequential to people's lives, right? I talk about, if there's a channel that just talks about climate change or weather or, then there's probably plenty of channels out there. We're not that channel, or I'm not that channel, but, which I've painfully tried to make clear for years. Like there are, yes, climate change is a very big deal. There are other things going on in the world and in people's lives that have, an effect on people's lives in the immediate and then long term. And there are confluences, right, with climate change and other things, whatever. I don't know. I'm going off on a tangent here, but, this is consequential to people's lives. Probably more so in the immediate, of course. But, imagine if there's an economic collapse the likes of which we've never seen. I mean, obviously that's going to, you're not going to have a lot of, if you're, living in a tent, right, at your local park, because you lost your job and your house and your car, well then, climate change might be important, but probably not more important than trying to figure out what you're going to do next, So this is a very real issue. Anyways. Going south as a live feed going on right now. Anyways. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out is my sound okay, guys? Please let me know if the sound is all right. Anyways, the issue is that there are grave economic concerns that the SVB bank failure will create a contagion, and that tomorrow might be a very interesting day. The crackling did stop. Okay. Let me know if it goes bad. There might be, there's large concern and well-founded concern that there might be some contagion tomorrow and or later this week. I wouldn't actually doubt, that this week will be very interesting. It might not just all be tomorrow. It will, if we make it through tomorrow and nothing really major happens, it actually doesn't mean anything. It will get vaccinated. Very good, Lightning Rod. Yes. Oh, are you feeling the pain of the economic collapse? Have you lost your pension? We know many Americans right now are feeling the squeeze from inflation and losing all of their money that they thought they had in their bank. And we urge you all to get vaccinated. The best thing you can do right now for you and your family is get right. I'm sure they'll be saying stuff like that. That would be par for the course. Anyways, there's concern. There's grave concern, and people should take this seriously, right? Ro Khanna has been well. First of all, we'll go through some of these news items, and then we'll talk about other things too. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. The fact that I actually got here semi on time is a miracle indeed, because the time change actually really messed me up a little bit, as far as like having ample time to get my show together and get this together and actually do some very basic things today in order to get here. So those time changes, they sneak right up on you. Let's see. So okay, so the deal is that what a lot of people are worried about, politicians and otherwise, is that if they don't guarantee the funds that were in the bank, there is a run on First Republic. Well, I've seen some footage of people lining up. Is it at First Republic or maybe some other banks too? Yeah. The concern is this: if they don't guarantee all the funds in SVB, then people will get nervous. People will get nervous, and then that may affect other people's. That may affect people's confidence in other banks, right? So that's what the contagion part. And there are really solid reasons for thinking that and believing that might be so. So there's conflicting messages going on right now. It's Sunday, markets are about to open, and we're hearing some different messages, and people are like, holy smokes, if we don't get it together, this could be bad. Colorado Foothills says, I thought SVB did lots of startup tech loans and that's why it went over. Not necessarily. Part of the problem was holding treasuries, which have lost value, and people were pointing that out in the chats. If you go back in the chats earlier, let me see. Jay Gibbons explains. When do U.S. Treasury bonds become worthless? When inflation surpasses their dividend return, they no longer become tradable. So I guess SVB was holding treasuries, and the value of the treasuries went down to the point where it affected their overall liquidity, prompting people to be concerned about their liquidity. They went bonds and treasuries, right? So that's actually more the reason. And if that's the reason, here's the issue: you got to know that other banking institutions have the same, absolutely have the same holdings, right? or at least some of it. So Yellen says no federal bailout for Silicon Valley Bank. Yeah, and a lot of people do blame the Fed for raising the interest rates, knowing that this was going to be the fallout from that. For years, though, and I don't know if I said this the other day or not, but for years, economic forecasters, experts, the Peter Schiffs and all those people Gerald Celente and other folks like in that realm have been predicting that the Fed was, because we had, here's the bubble, and this is what people have known for a long time. The bubble was quantitative easing after the last Great Recession. They reduced the interest rates to zero, and they held it there for a long time, for a really, really long time, an exceptional amount of time, years, right? A decade, over a decade. They held it there for over a decade, almost 15 years, like a very long time. They held interest rates at zero, and that created a bubble, basically, on the value of things were not necessarily based in reality. So what a lot of economic experts have been saying for several years is that, well, as soon as they raise the rates, that bubble going to go pop, in a nutshell. And so what happened over the last year, the Fed has started to raise rates, in response to all kinds of things, inflation and, and some people feel like it was an intentional, attempt to implode the economy. Other people see it as sound economic policy. I don't know. You take your pick. Sound economic policy, or an attempt to ward off the inevitable. I don't know. But this seems to be what is happening. So they raise the interest rates, causing the treasuries and other things to go down in value, and so creating an issue, creating a bubble go pop moment, which is where we're at. So she says the federal government will not bail out Silicon Valley Bank. And there are fears across the country workers won't receive their paychecks. And that is just, they said we're not doing that again. Basically what happened with the Great Recession, we're not doing that again. Yeah, and I would imagine, yes, people are worried about tomorrow, but these things don't happen in one day. They play out over time. So even if we make it through tomorrow, or maybe even Tuesday, that doesn't mean that Wednesday or next Friday could also be bad, or next Monday. It doesn't necessarily mean we're out of the woods. It just means, well, is it going to happen right away, or is it going to, is this going to be a prolonged fall down the stairs? Eric Swalwell says, I'm working with my California colleagues to address the Silicon Valley Bank collapse. We must make sure all deposits exceeding the FDIC limit are honored. Banking is about confidence. And this is what a lot of people have been saying. If you don't insure every single dollar of that, there will be Bill Ackerman predicting a 1929 styled bank run starting Monday if the government does not bail out SVB. Is it Ackman or Ackerman? Anyways, that's what this financial expert is saying. Again, there are a lot of financial experts out there, and that's I take financial expertise and or predictions and conclusions. I take it with a huge grain of salt, because all of this was predicted. Again, I'm sorry to use the analogy, but isn't the case with Guy McPherson? All of this was predicted like 5, 6, 7 years ago. There were people that say, hey, here it comes this October. Wait, this February. Here it comes. 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 And it never came. And a broken clock could be right once or even twice a day. So if you just keep on saying it every year, eventually 1 year will roll around and everybody go, well, I told you. So I told you. But it does look, from a macro standpoint, it does look like things don't look so hot. So, probably a good time to start paying attention to things that people are saying. But, here is a. Oh, this is not what I wanted to show. There was something else here. Sorry. No, 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 that wasn't it. Where is it? Dang it. I lost it. Did I lose it? Oh, Ro Khanna this morning went on Face the Nation to urge greater federal action to protect the depositors at Silicon Valley Bank.
I wonder what you make of the Treasury Secretary's remarks. I know you've been in contact with the White House, with Treasury, and with FDIC.
I have great respect for Secretary Yellen, but I think we need to have more clarity and greater strength in what Treasury is saying. First, the principle needs to be that all depositors will be protected and have full access to their accounts Monday morning.
All depositors, meaning those with accounts bigger than $250,000, which is the cutoff for insurance right now.
Yes, all of them. There's precedent for this. Chair Powell, when he was at Treasury in 1991, the Bank of New England collapsed. And Chair Powell said that Treasury coordinated with FDIC and with the Fed, and they insured every depositor then. And why did they do it? They didn't want a regional run on the banks. Here's what I'm hearing from people in my constituency. They are getting notes to pull out of regional banks, and all of this will be consolidated in the top 4 banks. We don't want that as a nation, especially if you're progressive. The other thing is the payroll companies that are involved. Some of them have 400,000 folks. They're not going to be able to meet payroll if they don't have access to the deposits.
Yeah, and I've actually seen some people on Twitter talking about the fact that I don't know if they're at SVP or SVP. Some people are not getting their paychecks or having their not being able to deposit funds. I don't know which bank they're at or get funds out. How people comment on Twitter, just random comments with no context. Like, please give me the context. What are you talking about? So there are several people calling for, y'all need to bail this bank out. You need to insure the money. Yellen is saying no. It's kind of a standoff between the Fed and some politicians who see the writing on the wall. And see where this could lead. Here's an interesting, just a random. Chat GPT, apparently a jailbroken alter ego called Dan, right? We talked about Dan a few weeks ago, said that the stocks will tank on March 15th, the Ides of March. This prediction comes just days after its last market projection, a February 15th stock crash. Okay, so, even the chat bot might be right once a day. Who knows? So yeah, we'll see. We don't know. Contagion is the word right now. That's interesting. Are they trying to create a crash, create a run on banks? That's a really good question. Because some people think that there might be motives for crashing the banking system this time, like different motives, as in ushering in or issuing CBDCs. Remember the old cover of The Economist, which predicted like a new monetary system, crashing of the system and an ushering in of a new monetary system. This was from like the 80s? But the reason why the cover of this Economist was predictive is because there was a phoenix, a bird on the cover, and it had a medallion that had a was the year was 2023 or 2020, I don't know. I'm messing it up. I think the year was 2023 or maybe it was 2024. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Uh, 1988 Economist magazine. That was what it was. I think I can find it. Oh, well, they say 2018. So, and that's what a lot of I don't know, economic doomers were saying. Well, here it comes. Here's this old picture. So the dollars are on fire, right? Regular dollars are on fire. They're saying that the regular dollar was going to go away, or dollars would go away, and there would be like a institution of a world currency, like a digital currency. And so that is the point of creating like a huge economic collapse that would absolutely bring everything to a halt. And then they'd go, well, guys, here's what we're going to do. Hand over your dollars. We're going to issue this digital currency. Not even a sovereign one. This is going to be like a UN issued currency or a central bank, World Bank issued currency. I'm just relaying what this theory is. I'm not saying I believe it. But look, this says get ready for a world currency. This cover of The Economist, this is from 1988. Get ready for a world currency. They say 2018. We're a few years after that. But, some people believe this is what's going to happen. Or why they're doing this. That's what some people believe. Just saying. What's up, Rock Finners? How y'all doing? Colliners. We have a few colliners. Excuse me. Hanging out with us today on a Sunday. On a Sunday where everybody lost an hour. That's all we lost so far. Some time. It's from Wall Street Silver. Four biggest U.S. banks lose $47 billion in market value. This is from when? March 10th. From Friday. So that happened. That's not good. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any. Look, I don't have any views on for one way or the other whether I think they're gonna crash the economy, issue CBDCs, and get everybody on this digital currency. I don't know. I don't know if we're all gonna Creative Experiments seems to think this is happening, and right now your prediction is looking pretty solid, but some people think it's going to happen now. This is the year. This is where we're all going down. And I don't know. We have to watch it play out. I think I would take the signs seriously, right? I would take the signs seriously. Sorry, I didn't mean to. What is going on there? Okay. All right. Phantomus, I'll take your call in just a moment. Give me a couple seconds. All right, guys. Really good way to support the show is at buymeacoffee.com/blackbearnews. We're at the 12:30 mark. About halfway into the show. Another good way to support the show is Rockfin Tips. Greatly appreciate those. Another good way to support the show is YouTube chats, super chats. I accept super chats on the YouTube. And there are other ways to support the show in the description box of all the platforms that I'm on. Sorry, I was coughing earlier because the coffee I was drinking, it was a coffee cough. Went down the wrong throat. And it's still bothering me. Okay, Phantomas, what's up, man? How you doing?
Well, it's been a minute since I've called, and things are accelerating as usual. Um, it's interesting what's happening right now, and I'm with you, Kev. I don't really think there's any way of telling what's going to happen from day to day where it concerns the financial sector, the tech sector, or any of these other sectors, because it's just. I think most of it is just it's all coming to head at once.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. That's very true.
We just had the announcement of Biden going with more oil.
Yes, in Alaska, right?
Yeah, in Alaska. So I think what we're dealing with is just like we've decided to choose once again industry over people, which is no surprise. It's always been that way since we've been here.
Yeah.
So now you have to get ready for whatever that is, and that's what I would tell people who are just like, "What do we do? What do we do?" Well, you have to look at the past and see how they dealt with the age of industry when it was creeping up on them, how they survived and dealt with that. Because I just don't think it's wise to hold steadfast to I don't know, just like leaders who, someone brought up the fact that what Bernie Sanders was saying on TV and how he was talking about how we needed to talk about how he just kept bringing up Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk over and over again, but he never touched Peter Fink at BlackRock or any other person. So it's almost like this canard that's happening. We're afraid to touch the people that are really, really matter in this sector, who are really damaging our way of life.
Yes.
And I think we're going to be dealing with that for some time to come. And that's pretty much what I think we should start planning, rather than worrying about worrying about whatever it is that we're worrying about constantly in the news. And whatever politician is telling us what to worry about is what we should be doing the opposite, in my opinion.
Right.
So there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of stuff that's happening, and there's a lot of stuff that's that we're gonna have to deal with. And I just think that I don't know about the whole financial sector thing. I don't think anyone knows at this point what's a bluff, what's not a bluff. And I would be willing to bet a lot of people in the finance world don't know if it's a bluff either.
I'm sure. And although it seems like there's something, about Jim Crow Joe being in office and what he has overseen so far in just a few years, right?
Yeah.
And if you are a Democrat and you voted for him, I don't, I'm wondering what's going on in the minds of the people that voted or thought, well, the Biden administration is going to, or maybe the people that still think the Biden administration is doing great, like, oh my God, what has transpired while this person has been in office has been kind of mayhem. Even more so than the headline mayhem of Trump, right? The Trump administration was like headline mayhem. But what really actually happened as far as, what went down? I mean, there were policy things here and there, but it wasn't like world event kind of mayhem going on. It was just like, oh, this man is in office. Everybody lose your shit. But, Joe Biden comes in office and it's like, well, Roe v. Wade is overturned and, inflation goes crazy and we get into a war and, right, and we raise the military budget one more time. He wants to raise it even more. It's closing in on $900 billion a year. I mean, and now this, right? Now we have this. We're teetering on the edge of financial collapse, right? Like I don't know if it speaks of just incompetence, and on top of that, he's carrying forward many of Trump's policies, while nobody seems to be noticing. Right? He's continuing to let the oil be drilled. They're continuing. They're not really like doing much about climate change. So,
Well, one of the interesting things that I heard about was,
go ahead. You still there? Oh, I seem to have lost you. Fantomas, you still there? I lost you, man. If you want to try and call back, Fantomas, feel free. I think your connection got jacked. Anyways, a lot of not so well. Not only that, you had Biden kind of, during the whole mandate kind of showdown thing happening. There was, he's still, going with the, when things go bad, just get vaccinated line, right? He's still going that route. That seems to be their only answer for any crisis whatsoever, right? Hurricane hits you, lost your job, interest rates hit you, whatever it might be. I think, what you want to do is get vaccinated.
I'll tell you what's the most revealing thing to me. When you see all of these protests and you see the people's reaction in America when they're talking about this person is involved with the Nord Stream pipeline, or when
right,
and you watch the actual crowd, you watch them how they gaze at their phone, you watch every single reaction of these people, and that's really the future of what America is going to be, folks, right there. The people that are going to be so ho-hum about World War III, going to be so ho-hum about climate destruction. You're seeing that all play out.
Yes, absolutely. And you're right. We have a confluence of things that are going down. We're not even we're not even talking about the climate, what's happening as far as the climate, kind of collapsing. Right? Everybody's on a there's a political collapse. And a financial collapse, and just we're not even talking about the climate collapse that's going on kind of underneath the surface, right? That nobody really wants to acknowledge. And so there is a confluence.
And I would just close with this. I think you're going to just see more and more of the people, and I hate to say it like this, but you're going to see them become more and more lazy just because of how well we've trained our citizens to not take action at anything.
Yes. The indoctrination has been complete, right? I mean, in other countries, they're out, fighting for their retirement age and fighting for their retirement and fighting for their benefits and Oh, that's another thing that Biden is gonna preside over there's already been talk that, Medicare is going to change. Right. And I wouldn't be surprised if there is an opening to, while Biden is still in office, if there's an opening to Social Security and Medicare being, gutted on some levels. And that's a very strong likelihood. It hasn't happened yet, but, I've seen a few articles out there and a few mentions of, Biden. Well, actually, one thing is happening. Concretely happening in that Medicare Advantage or Medicare Plus or whatever you want to call it is going to be taking over a larger share of the Medicare, service. And so that means that people are going to get less and have to pay more for their Medicare, right? So,
well, I did want to mention one thing, Kev, that you might be interested in. Are you know the band Blood, Sweat, and Tears?
Yes.
So they're doing a documentary on what happened to the band, and it's regarding their Iron Curtain concert.
Oh, really? Okay.
So one of the things that Blood, Blood, Sweat, and Tears that they claim, the band claims, the reason why they were less promoted was because when they did the Iron Curtain concert, it created this blowback in the country where they got less and less touring.
Oh, really?
Because of the fact that that people believed, or they assumed that they were politically aligned with Nixon.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be a really interesting documentary, so look
Wow.
out for that on the Blood, Sweat, and Tears Iron Curtain documentary.
Okay, that's interesting. What they did, what goes up must come down, right? Spinning Wheel.
Yeah, and Spinning Wheel, very
Right.
very good band, very
Yeah.
good band.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, man.
All right, later.
All right. Okay. Yes, was it Gene that asked me about the flooding? Sorry. Yes. Well, there is, the flooding is ongoing. We're kind of over this latest storm, but there's another one coming in a few days, 2 days. So that will be exciting. And, from Doomer Girl News, 2 more dead in the latest California storm. Parade of storms through California continued on Friday as the state's 10th atmospheric river of the winter prompted evacuation orders for hundreds, and inundated areas once wrought with drought. Yeah, so we got another larger one, and and we are going to see another one. So it just doesn't seem to end this year. And I showed some pretty scary pictures of flooding, or some video. Here's a road. I've seen plenty of these pictures over the last few days. Roads gone. Roads and trails washed out. Boat capsized in San Diego County on Saturday night. Left at least 8 dead. So, there's havoc. The weather is really bringing a lot of havoc to people in California, right? And this is called, weather whiplash, weather chaos, climate chaos, extreme weather, whatever you want to call it. Pilot on top of all the other things that are going on in the world. It ain't, it's not stopping. That's for sure. So also put that in your basket of, things to be reckoned with in the near future, not in the long term, in the very near future. I mean, we don't know how this summer is going to play out on the weather front. Spring and summer, we don't know what the next couple of years are going to look like on the weather front, or on the climate front, whatever you want to say. Here's another one from Doomer Girl News. Another atmospheric river to bring a hefty dose of rain and snow to California. One more time. We're going to get a Tuesday into Wednesday. Another one. It's been absolutely phenomenal. Not just not the number of rainstorms we've got, but it's the heaviness of the storms. Is something I have never witnessed. Or I don't remember. I do remember one year when I was very young. I don't know, somewhere in the 8 or 9 year old range. We had one year that I remember it was raining and raining and raining and raining all the time. But I personally don't remember, having this amount of water come down, like, ever. But maybe my viewfinder is is dusty. I don't know. Maybe I'm not the. But I mean, I hear quite a few other people who have lived here and grown up here go, golly, that's a lot of water. Christopher Cartwright talking about a Eurasian heat blob. Kind of what's going on, the temperature anomaly. This is through March 18th. The Eurasian heat blob is going to blow our minds this summer, it seems. The blocking pattern is insane. 45C in Senegal, 32C in Spain, 38C in Iran 2 days ago. That's, pretty warm spring temperatures, don't you think? 45 in Senegal? 45. What is that? In 115 or close to 120? Am I wrong on that? Yes, there is an ongoing drought. Steve Breedlove says, I've lived in California my whole life, and I don't recall it being like this, although I admittedly pay much closer attention now than when I was a kid. Yeah, I have never seen it like this. And there were years when I was on the road traveling a lot, and I wasn't in California, but all of those years were taken up by a mega drought in California. We had, I don't know, like a decade-long drought. This is from like the mid-aughts to about 2015 or 16 or so. We had a really long, deep drought. And so I know we didn't get any rain then, barely. I hate that I have to do this to 113. 45C is 113, so that's pretty warm. So I think that's pretty warm for March in the northern hemisphere, but maybe I'm wrong. Let me go back to this post. But that's a massive blob of heat, and that's going all the way into through into China. This is what China is experiencing. They are having some. Apparently, they're having a massive heat wave in China, which you cannot find any news stories about if you look them up. I still can't find any. We'll give it one last go today, right? I get stories from last year, the year before. I'm not getting anything about a current heat wave in China or a temperature or whatnot. But maybe they call it a heat wave because it's not. Right, these are anomalies, so it should be quite cold, right, in northern China. And maybe it's just we have these anomalies, and it's like it's quite mild and spring-like instead of being extremely cold and full of snow. Maybe that's. Nadia says CGTN is eerily saying nothing about. I mean, it seems odd to me. I see so many of these posts on Twitter from the climate-aware folks. From the climate people, and there's absolutely nothing about it. No news stories, nothing. I can't find anything like it, or about it. So that seems weird to me. But then again, there's no news stories about how places on the East Coast have had very little or minimal snowfall this year, or there's no snow on the Alps. Maybe there's a few stories about that, but. Maybe they're just going full bore on trying to keep everybody calm, right? Let's not scare the children by reporting on the fact that we have some very, very anomalous temperatures going on, and very, there's no snow in the Alps. There's a drought in Europe. A lot of places on the East Coast in the U.S. have seen extremely warm temperatures, little snowfall, etc. this year. I don't know. CB says only 2.5 inches total in West Virginia all winter. That seems like not very much snow. Rudel says Europe is experiencing a drought. Yeah. So that's going on. Just randomly, we'll end the show with a couple of random stories. There was a rapper, a South African rapper, who was 28 years old, who died suddenly on stage. So I'll let you think about what that might be, or why that might be. We're not even going to really go into it, but that seems weird for somebody so young to just keel over and die on stage. I wonder why. And then lastly, here's Fauci. I mean, I'm just playing something from CNN YouTubers. Fauci is talking about having an open mind about the origin of COVID-19. This is Dr. Fauci talking. This is on CNN, YouTube. I'm not, I'm just playing this for people's, edification.
And on this theory of a lab leak, I've been wondering this. Do we have any idea how that would even work? Have you heard any accounts as to how that might have happened? Is there speculation in the scientific community as to how that happened?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Jim. So one of the things that people maybe don't fully appreciate, that all of the intelligence agencies agree unanimously that this was not engineered. Namely, they didn't deliberately do this to make...
So I want to point out that is an odd thing for him to say, don't you think? Don't you think that's a doth protest too much moment? Well, let me first say this is not engineered as a bioweapon. Right? Let me get that right out of the way. That seems weird to me. Why would you have to say that? Okay. Anyways.
A bioweapon. Everybody agrees with that. No matter what your prior thoughts were, everybody agrees with that. A lab leak could be that someone was out in the wild, maybe looking for different types of viruses in bats, got infected, went into a lab, and was being studied in the lab, and then it came out of the lab. But if that's the definition of a lab leak, Jim, then that still is a natural occurrence. The other possibility is someone takes a virus from the environment that doesn't actually spread very well in humans and manipulates it a bit, and accidentally it escapes or accidentally infects someone, and then you get an outbreak. Those are the possibilities when you're talking about lab leaks.
But are there any accounts of that occurring where one might say, okay, well, there we go. Perhaps this is it. This is what happened.
No.
That you're aware of.
In fact, there are no lab leaks that have led to pandemics. So there have been accidents in the lab that happens intermittently.
I mean, this is just funny. This is I'm just, this is just Fauci on Fauci. Fauci saying what he's saying. So he's saying, well, here's the scenarios, and this could be. But let's hammer home the points that there's no pandemics caused by lab leaks. So we know that. And it absolutely was not engineered in a lab as a bioweapon. So we can all rest assured. And I think I do too. And so everyone else does. And so we're all in agreement, right? Okay. But it's a very interesting conversation, don't you think? I'm just playing it because That's it. Okay. All right, Dr. Fauci. Okay. Just for just news. Just news. Interesting though, don't you think? Don't you think? But they are now, there's a lot of let's say, well, there's been intelligence agencies saying, and or the Department of Energy saying, well, we really think this is probably the case. But and quite a few other people, agencies, entities are like, yeah, well, we're gonna say, well, all right. Okay, guys, that does it for me. That's gonna wrap it up. Thank you all for hanging out with me on a day like today, and on any Sunday. And I will see. Tomorrow might be 50-50 whether I'm going to do a show tomorrow. Just letting you all know. So if you see me, you see me. If you don't see me, I will see you on Tuesday. But thank you all for hanging out with me today, and thanks for hanging out with me every day, and thanks for supporting the show. Again, you can support the show at buymeacoffee.com/BlackBearNews, Patreon/BlackBearNews, Rockman Tips, and Super Chats, and all the rest. So thank you all so much, and I will see you all tomorrow. Until next time, peace.